US-Iran tensions still continue on, and since the last video, I've had people ask me to go into more detail specifically on Iranian defenses. Despite what you see in the news, how they have been portraying war to pretty much break out any moment, I don't believe that's the case, although I'd probably get more views and clicks if I said the opposite. Both countries' leaders and people are against it, but if war did break out between the two of them, what kind of fight could Iran put up? First, the conflict would mainly occur in the Persian Gulf and immediate surrounding region. There would likely be Iranian-backed groups like Hezbollah, likely setting up attacks on US assets and US allies further west, and cyber attacks carried out by the Iranian Cyber Defense Command. But most of these attacks you read about in the news require a lot of time to set up, write specific code and exploits, infiltrate the computer network, and then identify your target and launch the attack. There are less complicated, less time-consuming cyber attacks they could carry out, but these have less of an impact. So besides these, the conflict would mostly be confined to the region. Iran, while having a relatively large military, cannot carry out operations further away from home. Ever since World War II, the US has been a dominant power in the air. Through its large air force and aircraft carrier fleet, the US seeks to control the skies in any conflict in what is called air superiority. Without air superiority, it is virtually impossible to win a war, as the enemy would constantly be bombing and destroying any offensive you launch. Iran has a decent-sized air force, but much of it dates back to before the Iranian Revolution in 1979. For fighters, they have several F-14s, which they received from the US in the late 70s. The exact number of them that are operational is unknown. They originally received 79 F-14s, lost 10 to 20 in the Iran-Iraq War. They lost a few more to accidents over the years, including another one in early May, and others have become inoperable due to a lack of maintenance, parts, and being scrapped for parts to repair other F-14s. And that is a major issue for them, the lack of parts. After the revolution, the US banned arms sales to Iran, and kept a close eye on spare parts from its own F-14 fleet, making sure that they did not reach Iran. Despite this, Iran has been able to keep approximately 40 flying, by manufacturing their own equipment and buying illegal spare parts on the black market. They also developed their own version of the long-range Phoenix air-to-air missile called the Fakor 90, as their own arsenal of Phoenix missiles ran low after the war. Despite the age of the F-14, it's still a highly capable fighter, and its long-range missiles can pose a serious threat to US AWACS and tanker aircraft. If successful in shooting some of these aircraft down, it could hurt the US's ability to maintain air superiority in the region. They also operate the F-5, another US fighter jet. Around 70 of these are believed to be operational. The F-5 is a small but highly capable fighter and is still used today, including its variants and derivatives, across the world. Iran has built their own versions of the aircraft as well, creating the Sequi and the Kausar. On top of these, Iran has 30 to 40 older MiG-29s, 60 US F-4s, 20 Su-22s, 20 Mirage F-1s, and 24 Chinese J-7s which can be used to defend the country. But if their air bases are destroyed, those aircraft are useless. One of the first things the US would do is target these bases with long-range cruise missiles like Tomahawk and JASSM. We have seen the US do this many times, in Iraq, Libya, Syria, and others, targeting hangars, runways, radars, ammo and fuel depots, and more. While runways can often be repaired relatively quickly, losing facilities like fuel depots and maintenance facilities can have long-term effects. To counter this, Iran has built up its ground-based air defenses. One of the often overlooked aspects of air defense is early warning radars. People tend to focus on the guns or missiles, but if you don't know where the target is, those weapons are useless. Iran has a large number of radar sites spread across the country. One specific radar worth mentioning is called the Nebo-M, a new advanced Russian-made radar system with pretty impressive capabilities, including being better able to detect stealth aircraft like the US F-22, F-35, and B-2 stealth bomber. As for missiles, one of the more widely used systems is Hawk, specifically the more capable IHawk, which is another US system received before the revolution. You can find these sites spread across Iran defending military bases, nuclear sites, and other high-valued targets. They have also developed their own versions of Hawk as well. Older Chinese and Soviet HQ-2 and the long-range S-200 sites are also widespread. Their long range gives them the ability to defend a wide area, but they are dated and not mobile, making them more vulnerable to attack. Various medium-range, highly mobile